Alright, so I just got back from watching M. Night Shyamalan's new film, Trap. So a bit of background with my relationship with M. Night Shyamalan's movies. I actually have not seen very many of his movies. I know his reputation. I know a lot of people say that, when M. Night Shyamalan makes a movie, he basically flips a coin and decides if it's going to be good or bad, because he's got some pretty good movies and he's got some real bad ones. Surprisingly enough, I have only seen two of his movies. I have seen The Happening and After Earth. I know, his masterpieces, I know. But the main reason why I haven't really clamored to see his other films is just because when I was a teenager and I watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos about movies and stuff, I would watch YouTube videos about M. Night Shyamalan's movies, and so I know everything that happens in the good ones, The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Signs, all that sort of stuff. So, and if you know the twists of an M. Night Shyamalan movie, especially if it's the bad ones, you don't really need to watch the movie anymore. So I've only seen those two movies, but the trailers for this one looked interesting, and I was excited to check this one out. So it is about, a father taking his daughter to a concert, very Taylor Swift Eras Tour type thing going on here, and we find out that this entire concert is a trap for him because he is secretly a serial killer known as the Butcher. And he kills people. He's kind of a psychopath, and so he has this dark side to him, and so he finds out that this entire concert is a trap for him. They found out that he was coming, and he needs to get out, but he doesn't want his daughter to know, and the police are all here, and they're blocking all the exits, and he doesn't know how to get out of the building. So it's a very interesting premise. So without spoiling anything, I will say this movie is very much split in two. The first half of the movie I really enjoyed. There is some cheesy M. Night Shyamalan dialogue. There's some weird things with, stuff that characters say. And the way the movie is shot is a little, not disjointed, but a little unsettling, which that's on purpose sometimes. But besides all that, I was really enjoying the first half of the movie. It might even be more than the first half, maybe like the first 2/3. And then the last third, close to a half, 1/3, whatever, I did not enjoy as much. So if if you're taking the average of that, I did enjoy the movie, but only so much the beginning and the middle. The ending, I wasn't a huge fan of just because the movie stopped being interesting around that part. I don't want to spoil what happens or why it's less interesting, because that will kind of give away plot elements and what happens in the story. But it basically just became very predictable, very generic, and I kept thinking to myself, okay, well, what if this is what's going to happen? Because it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, so I'm guessing, okay, maybe this is what's going to happen next. So I was keeping myself on edge, not letting myself get too comfortable, because I was just waiting for that extra oomph that the movie was going to drop on me, and it never really came. Nothing that happened in the last third blew me away or shocked me. Not that movies have to shock you, but it was just uninteresting. Everything that you think normally happens in these types of movies happened. And it was just like, okay, we got nothing else up our sleeve. The first 2/3 were very interesting. It was very original. I'd never quite seen a movie like this before. I loved the feeling of you're kind of rooting for this guy, because he's a good dad to his daughter. And you like his daughter, you don't want to see anything bad happen to her, so you want him to get out of there, but you're also reminded every now and then that he's not really a good guy. So you're rooting for the bad guy here, and it's very interesting, seeing him navigate these two sides of himself, trying to get out of an impossible situation, and then the movie becomes something else, something much more ordinary for this type of movie, and it just was not as interesting to me. Josh Hartnett, who plays our lead, the Butcher, I think his name's Cooper in the movie. He does a really good job. Josh Hartnett is on a bit of a redemption tour right now. He kind of became obscure after being in some movies in the early 2000s, and now after being in Oppenheimer and being in this, people are starting to notice him again. So good for him, and he's good in this movie. Everyone is pretty good in this movie. So nothing wrong with any of that. The directing is fine, except for, certain stuff. The dialogue can be weird and cheesy at moments, but for the most part is okay. And it's an enjoyable movie, especially good to watch with friends, I think. I think this is a social movie. But yeah, that last third really bothered me. It just, my hopes were built up a little too much in the first two thirds, and I was kind of disappointed how it kind of fell off the edge there in the terms of originality and being interesting. But yeah, there it is. Trap is currently in theaters right now, and if my criticisms didn't sway you, then you can go ahead and check it out.